But when he got there, he found that a lot of people had just turned it into a commercial enterprise. They passed these rules in the temple where the festival was held, that if you wanted to give an offering, money, or you wanted to get an offering of some kind of animal, it had to be sanctioned by the religious association of the day. And they would be more than happy to sell you something sanctioned at a really hefty price. And it was keeping people from participating in the things that were meant to be a connection with God. And get this. I'm reading from Mark chapter 11, beginning in verse 15. It says, on reaching Jerusalem, Jesus entered the temple courts. And then, parenthetically, he saw everything I just described. And he began driving out those who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. And he would not allow anyone to carry merchandise through the temple courts. You get the picture? Jesus walked in, and it's like the dude went ballistic. Could you imagine the scene? Here's Jesus. Don't imagine him, with blue eyes and long blonde hair, levitating a foot off the ground, very serene. It's like he walked in, he saw what was going on, and he got angry. And he began going, and he began throwing tables over and money scattering everywhere, and releasing the special animals that were sanctioned and to be sold, and letting them go free, and then he wouldn't allow anybody to carry one. You know what? Jesus was a pretty intimidating dude. He wouldn't let, one guy wouldn't let anybody come in a large city or a large temple area. It's like word spread, like, man, there's a crazy man, don't even bring it in. And then Jesus said these words. And he taught them, saying, God, I imagine he taught them because they're going, Jesus, could you explain your behavior? And he goes, is it not written, my house will be called a house of prayer for all nations, but you have made it a den of robbers. Do you know what made Jesus mad? What made him mad were people who would do things in the name of God that would prevent people to connecting with God. And when he saw this going on, he saw people being financially abused, and he saw them being religiously abused, and he saw in the name of religion obstacles being erected for people connecting with God. That made him mad. He said, people need to connect with God. And so in his anger, he just started throwing stuff around. He was motivated by injustice. He was motivated by something that was absolutely wrong. And he had the energy to rise up and say, I'm doing something about it. That's why God gave us the ability to be angry. Hey, some questions. Are there things that really make you angry because they should? Genocide make you angry? Human trafficking make you angry? Domestic abuse make you angry? I mean, think about it. I realize that we have the horrors of the world come into our living room every day. And we are incapable of responding equally emotionally to all the things that happen. But what I'm asking is this, do you have the ability to get angry and in that anger rise up and do something to correct injustice? Notice that Jesus' anger was not about personal inconvenience. It was about injustice. And that's why God gave us the ability to get angry. It's so that we could rise up and fix problems. Now, are you ready for this? Because this is reality, it's how we live. Sometimes, I'm being generous, sometimes the problem that needs to be fixed is us. Sometimes we feel angry because of an injustice in the situation, and if we think about it, remember God to Cain, why are you angry? Think about the reason for how you feel. Because your anger is intended to fix the reason you feel the way you do. Solve the problem. That's why you have to do it. You get angry. And sometimes when we get angry, we think, why am I angry? And we have to go, is it because it's a great injustice in the world, I have to fix it? Or is it really because there's something kind of messed up with me and that's what I need to fix? The only righteous way to express anger is to use it as a motivator to solve a problem. Injustice in the world, inadequacies inside. And that's healthy. That a relational genius does. And that's why his or her relationships flourish. Because they're controlled in how they express anger. Now here's what I want to do for the last couple of minutes this morning. Say, you know what? It's just too easy to stand up here and to be generic and philosophical. Because I'm kind of a generic philosophical guy. But you know, we all have, because chances are, you're right now thinking to yourself, well, wait a minute, how's that apply to my, where I am? So you know what we're going to do for the next, 5 or 10 minutes? We're going to solve problems on things that make you angry. Now, I'm going to tell you right this. If I read one and you go, oh, who will know you? So I suggest you mask that reaction. And when I read one, you go, oh, can you believe that makes somebody angry? That's your best play there, okay? And let's just see if we can figure out together, okay, this is something that makes somebody angry. What needs to be fixed and how would you fix something like that, okay? Should we do this? All right, sounds like fun, all right? So obviously, I don't know what's on the card, and I'm just randomly picking in, And now, if I was Johnny Carson, I'd go, and the answer is, but I'm not. Okay? Okay. People walking on my grass or driving on it. Listen, you know what? If you really like your yard, there's some yard. You know what? If I drove on my yard, my wife would have written this down. She pretty much takes care of our yard. Okay, now think about this. People walking on my grass and driving on it. Now, should people drive on your lawn? No, I mean, that was a really strong no coming from over here somewhere. Just saying. No, they really shouldn't be. And so it's like, okay, that makes me mad. Okay, fine. So why don't we do maybe a couple things? Number one, you could put a sign up that says, please do not drive on my yard. You're doing something to fix the problem. Right? Is something, okay, please keep off the grass. And then if that doesn't work, you can make the sign more intense. Put a picture of a Smith & Wesson right underneath the sign. Whatever. You see, you can do something to say, okay, this is a problem. It's not, I'm going to try to do something to correct it. But can there also, can there also be things on the inside? People walking or, I don't like it, but, hey, question. Whose lawn is it? And before you say mine, think very carefully. Because if we really theologically understand everything we own, who actually owns it? It's God's yard. And I'm stewarding it for him. And you know what? Making it nice is a part of the stewardship. But did you know that the people who walk in my yard are more important to God than my yard? And see, this is so real life. That's why I wanted to do this. Because it's like, that is so annoying and irritating. But if it makes us angry, then rather than going, the next person I see coming, I'm going to throw rocks at him. Probably is not a right response. Or, I'm just going to take it. Because God doesn't want me to feel anger. Oh, no. Try to solve.